One of the key economic activities conducted in ancient Egypt, the center for early human civilization, was fishing. The Egyptians invented various implements and methods for fishing, and these are clearly illustrated in tomb scenes, drawings, and papyrus documents. Simple reed boats served for fishing, woven nets, ware baskets made from willow branches, harpoons, and hook and line were all being used.
Africa as a center and original human civilization. African people did not only excel in the establishment of political institutions and governance system. The people of Africa also excel in other areas of human endeavors. This documentary seeks to survey the history of fishing industry in Kombo. We are going to examine or explore the historical transformation and development of fishing industry in Bakau and the Brufut, Tanje, Sanyang, Gunjur up to Katong.
Greater Senegambia has numerous rivers in both northern and southern region. On the western part lay the Atlantic Ocean. This did not only serve as potential means of transportation and irrigation, it serves to provide fish for the existing population. The major economic activities in Kombo before the introduction of monetary economy, people of Kombo during the rainy season were normally engaged in farming. In the dry season, women become vegetable growers. With the region's proximity to Atlantic Ocean, fishing became additional, if not major economic venture for the population. This resulted to the creation of major fishing centers in Kombo. The Gambia's Fisheries Division was established in 1967, evolving into a Fisheries Division by an Act of Parliament in 1978.
The Fisheries Department was created in 1980, but before that time it was a unit under the Department of Ministry of Agriculture. In 1979, European Commission funded the Artisanal Fisheries Development Project, which one of the major infrastructure was the Gunjur Community Fisheries Center with an ice plant established at Brikama, and also the current coastal road from Brufut to Sanyang. Then when they reached Sanyang, then from the Sanyang to the beach, they went to Gunjur, Gunjur to the beach, Katong, the same thing. That was the first project.
The Fisheries Division was responsible for managing all aspects of fisheries policy, including organization of fishers and fishing technique.
As far as I can remember, the only loan given to the Fisheries Department project is the Artisanal Fisheries Development Project, currently, which started in 2003 and is almost ending. Here you have the Bakau Fish Market, the rehabilitation of Tendaba, Bintang, Albreda, and also the road from Tendaba to the main road, Bintang to the main road, and also the fisheries jetty in Banjul, and also capacity building, because a lot of fisheries staff were trained up to master's level and diploma level, and we had also the beneficiaries, and also we have a credit component with SDF for the operators in the fisheries sector, banners, fishermen, fish processors. But that's the only loan I can remember. All the other projects were grants.
Towards the end of 1967, the Gambian cabinet approved the sum of £4,000 from the General Revolving Fund of the government for the formation of a credit facility scheme for artisanal fishers and cooperatives. In order to promote industrial fisheries, the Fisheries Division negotiated with a British fishing company, British Kindred Marine Products Company, the implementation of a pilot project costing £40,000. In the region of Kombo, there are 5 major fishing centers: Bakau, Brufut, Tanje, Sanyang, and Gunjur. According to the elders, prior to the introduction of modern method and technology in the Gambia, the local fishermen in Kombo were using a method called kaya. In this method, wooden sticks were fixed along the seashore and a locally made mat tied to a stick to trap fish.
I was practicing fishing operation locally, like using cast net hook and line on the beach. According to some information I had from an old fisherman in Banjul, he said this fishing skill, this cast net, came here in the Gambia was 1830 by a Chinese man that brought this skill here. Yeah. What I found in my father's hand was this. He was using cast net and hook and line for fishing. The boat, the type of boat, they use dog boat. You know dog boat? Not like this plank wood. It's a big stem. They dig it and then make it a boat. I learned a lot of skills in the 5 different gear types. I go for cast net. That is cast net that we use for cast mullet and bonga, and hook and line for fishing. And then again, we go to another method, long line. That's the type you find these people down there using it.
During this period, the aquatic resources were abundant. Local fishermen did not have to reach to the current official demarcated nautical distance to get their catches. Fishermen engaged in the fishing industry in those days were fishing for what was enough for their domestic need. In Kombo at that time, farming was and still is the predominant occupation of Gambians. Rural communities were fishing on subsistence basis using simple fishing gears such as traps, cast nets, and hook and line. For the people to balance their diet, they exchanged portion of their cereal products for fish. According to the narrations, a bowl of fish was equivalent to a bowl of cereal. Since the introduction of motorized canoes in the mid-1960s by a migrant Senegalese fisherman, the Gambia witnessed the transformation of fishery from paddle canoes with simple fishing techniques to one with modern fishing technologies and larger canoes with outboard engines, which resulted in an increase in fish landings.
Ninyi kata Brikama le kata Serekunda kawa foko Brikama Serekunda yele muna wafulula kado kula le bengulmi yana kunke jo pure do ko kambo sinda mata kala nyindo ko koleatal so kado kula ni le do kula mi ko special kata jemi yana ko kam makoy nke jo.
Tangiers Fishing Center became the most vibrant landing site owing to its proximity to the urban Kombo. According to the elders, Malang Ceesay was the first local-based fisherman in Tangier, while artisanal fishing with motorized canoes was introduced by Alhaji Suley Njai and Kor Sen, the founding patriarch of Sukuta Kor Sen Kunda.
Keba follow the jam. Jallow ka fa Malang Ceesay. Malang Ceesay wala mun tolle jam Malang ko. Over the game funds Tangier. Wala mu Malang ko follow. Otumo fa Jallow ka fa jam. Nyela siakam ni molonto nyi ne wura rosi ta fitiro dunta ke bal kataje do nem pachamo ni bulata nyel ko do ni macho ni akala ni awulidire e ka je nyel kaso kana bula kulunko la ka pore ko kulunko ah ko le ke ma ko le la bata Malang Ceesay do amulunta sabi ko lisen wolle na radda ka janka na Jallow fayda ka Jallow fayda amunda ko ten otumo chalo nani burele tija bada ka tamaka foka jeke business dulati wo folo da seradiam ko dole wole jayele ka fa sule dengue wole jayele because bira jayele ndefa ko kunniyo ndele fa mala do kula folota otumo nyi nyejan jora ko buka sado nyi yirme se on ka woleta nka la benton ka nka nyejan woleka ndele fa ko kunniyo yo fa folo
jala fayo mi ya kumaze wala munyinti nyinle mu Jallow nyati ndafta si fa sube kale zele e kasuman wumu la londe te kasuma nyam londe ha kasuman tenne nyi kyanga keten anyata nyi nangam le mutal ni nga keten anyata nyi nangam le mutal nyinle mu jubot ni hanika bi abe tarim kulungo to pala temu so tasolit ni masino balanta jibana ni be kulungo kono sa jam fa jango nyang sa manam bande nyinle mu fay Jallow kanyin le fay mfolo taka nyi bos nya samba nyinya 36 nyile sayna folo mbotaje ko chali balek be kering sanchalo ka kanale nata foti keje nyile mu foti nyati ntara bo chali bana ta kotege nata 46 zan wole ka chali ba muta wole ka sabunu mol ka boko tanje chalibale bije ferele bijenu otumo kulung sabale katrajang kulung saba kulung ngoro wula yirwa kana anum nyebu ka bang fontol kabo barne aji be bibe min berbe mi kono bi kulung mi katrate ndadu kata fa kulung keme anum nyebu ka simol sañ minga nyemuta asiata bakele fo chalibal fa bortale fa bantal mo malo sañ nata muru tat sector wala tan chalme songo be kerin sañ.
Those using the run net size for artisanal fishermen, those are the small fishermen. The penalty to all the offenses there is 10,000 minimum. Then for an industrial fisherman who is caught using a wrong net size, or even if it is found on your vessel, its minimum is $1 million. And for fishing without a license, it's 30 million.
Bakau Fishing Center was established in 1993, and effective community mobilization of resources for efficient fishing management through the support of the government of the Gambia has been facilitated. In Kombo Sanyang, the scale of fishing activities has not been as vibrant as Tangier and Gunjur. However, local-based fishermen coupled with migrant fishermen from Senegal are able to maintain the industry in spite of logistics and technical constraints.
Ngataran alifalu silan ding buka nye dunu buka nye pole suo fango mo kilin ngole pole suo soto nkanani si ngolla kenyo siada ninga nyewo nyemuta fo benyo tanani abe ka dunu ko ngole kata jurumu sate kono be marseti je ka kirintu ngolon lan sangon ka wole fene ka nye jurumu aka bar woftu mo fano masinti jang basolom ikata basol la bako ika Sambou ku kale kara ya yiro kale fo ika fonyo tawele kata ika fonyo tawele kana Senegalese nga killing ika fa matari wole masindingo so da masingo mo wara bak nyebungol le tarinjang chalo benyoro taransoni nonko chali benyoro na si adon non ko nyata to fu be nyoro fulani tala ina nye kata fo jide bisaw karo kara silan ya jube nyimbangi ka fo nyeti jam nye monsoto nye be borta doli ye ko jide bisaw doli ye ko mutani ibaka nyi laje doli ngolom bari ba man kontrolo.
The sea is not controlled. Also, that is also a misconception. The Fisheries Department is not responsible for surveillance at sea. It's the Gambian Navy. But the Gambian Navy is in constant contact with the Fisheries Department, giving them the list of vessels which are authorized to fish. That's why if you go to Khartoum, you have the Navy having a special office there, so that at least rapid intervention they can do it. Not only industrial vessels which are doing bad fishing, even the artisanal fishermen are doing it. They have, some of them are using nets which are below the mesh size. And according to international FAO, they have seen that conventional management of fisheries have not succeeded as expected. That's why we are now involving the communities, what we call co-management, so that we can manage the resources together.
The fish we are catching them with hooks, not with net. But the net fishermen are disturbing all around by using their net and different size of nets they are using normally. That is affecting the fishermen with hand lines and fishermen with fishing rods. Because what the nets are catching is more than what the hooks are catching. And then they normally catch small and big size. We are looking for big size only, no small size. So for that being the case, that's normally disturbing us here.
Internationally, hook and line is one of the methods of fishing which is recommended because it's selective. If you put a big hook, you catch a big fish. You put a small hook, you catch a small fish. That's why sometimes if you go around the Gunjur, Bakau, you see women with catfish, small ones. Because the people catching it are using small hook. That's why the department, with the support of the Balla for USAID project, and also currently we have an UNDP regional project, we want to have a management plan for the catfish. Because even the women who are working with the catfish, one time I asked them, they said they prefer to have a bigger catfish to work with rather than smaller ones.
Gunjur became another vibrant landing site along the Atlantic coast owing to its geographical opening to West Coast metropolitan town of Brikama. This makes the traders to trade their fish products to the hinterland settlements.
Galaso mbukaso andu na galaso soto ni mona ta comme fils ni sama galaso soto ni mona ta buka galaso wafi iko kana galaso wafi na nyina ka tumbe kono lo mbuka lomba kala nyame mbuka lomba kala nyame ko kana o kata nyina kol ya ko ba la tudin bada to jak
jala fo nyin folo ta katonne wato gunjur jang tendarin num kasin kol min be kana jala fayola ibe ka sabat katonne kabirin woketa katon futanya ka kolea wala tinna enyin tenda yele jang wato masinte kering ika jibole tay jaro ne tate futata nyela itimin bisiring mo sabale kata ñun dombe kulun fenyoto dobe siringa bala dobe kulun kungoto mimbe kulun kungoto wala ka jalo fay nali futata nyela ñi yala jalo tenteng ayelo e jalo e kulungo mutaye ay chalo biti jalo la na ya bit fa pare ale jalo saba ani nyena ali ya konkon ale jalo fay kote ke nalla duno sita ale chalo bulaje ale bulala kulun kono ale namuru.
With increase in population and the increased demand for fish as alternative cheap source of protein, fishing centers serves as potential attraction for migration, and this led to expansion of the industry. Consequently, this attracted the need for government's intervention to support the local fishing communities, especially those living along the coastal zone of Kombo South District, through collaborative effort with the international donor agencies.
Protein intake around the Kombos and Banjul is high, but we also want the people in the inland so that to benefit. That's why we have this aquaculture project with FAO and also the Taiwanese who are also assisting us.
With increased global dependence on the aquatic products and the massive participation of the people of coastal zone in the fishing industry for their livelihood, the government of the Gambia in the Second Republic deemed it prudent to support the development plan through international aid grant to ensure sustainability in the fishing industry. In 2003, the government benefited from aid grant from the government of Japan. This aid was made to support artisanal fishing in Kombo South District. This led to the establishment of modern storage facilities for people of coastal village of Gunjur and Tangier.
You have the Gunjur ice plant, Tangier and all those things. You have smoke ovens where they smoke. You have dry racks where they dry. So all that is to reduce post-harvest losses in the country, which where the women are operating. And then the men, of course, you have men also. You have men banners, you have men fish smokers, you have men fish dryers. Before you go to Tangier, you'll see mostly people from Jambanjeli, the Sambou family and the Kamara family. We are the ones who were dominating transportation of fish from here, from the Kombo to the provinces. But now if you go to Tangier, at least you have so many Gambians who are involved in that trade.
The artisanal fisheries subsector in the Gambia is believed to provide about 90% of the domestic fish supplies and employs the majority of Gambians in the fishing industry.
I started to work in the fishing industry in 1971. Then, we had this fish cold store behind the market, a lot market. I worked for them as operations manager, and for some time, they decided to leave the Gambia. They were in joint venture with the Gambia government. When they left, I set up National Partnership Enterprises, NPE, and that was the first time we had a factory here owned by Gambians. Because before me, there was a Ghanaian company who was in herrings fishing. He brought in vessels fishing for herrings, and he would freeze and store them in his cold storage. Had a cold storage there, and export to Ghana. They were doing fish, and I was doing shrimps. One day, there was a big catch. When I bought the shrimps, about 4 tons that day, in a single day, 4 tons. I bought these shrimps and packaged them, but to freeze them, they refused to do that for me. We went to the Ministry of Finance, and the Minister of Agriculture, who was then responsible for fisheries, was invited, and we had a chat with the Ghanaians and had to have an agreement. The project I had with Danida became finalized, and we started, that's when we started building the factory at the Wafinyago. That's the MP cold stores. And after that, it was all a glory for the Gambia and for myself. Because Gambia had a factory, run by Gambians, employing Gambians, and exporting seafood from the Gambia to Europe, Africa, Asia, Americas, and bringing in foreign exchange into this country.
Isin bi nga gis ni muy isini MPB. Isin bi bu mu daanoo si Gambia la mool yi nekk fii dina ko sipa si lay am problème. Because isin bi moo ñu doon dimbale fii sipa bu ñëw si fii si Gambia bi fii Konaté moom moo ko doon jënd. Loolu moo tax ba jamono buñ tollu bi nii fu mu ne ñun ñu ngi amee gàllankoor boo xam ne pour nappa sipa bi. Because amuñ maquette. Et loo bëgg a liggéey maquette bi su fekkee ne yaa ngee nappa sipa bi mun naa am tey mu dem wala du dem wala sipa boo xam ne dañ ko war a yóbbu fii ba Dakar mu am war a am ñu ne la éluwees mun na am sax ñu yóbbu sipa bi ba mu àggal sax ñu ne amul glace yàqu na firi waaye time bi nga xamee ne Konaté mu ngay jënd sipa bi loolu amutoon foofu sipa bi dañ ko doon jënd normalement.
According to the experts, the landing of the artisanal sector in 1999 fell just short of 30,000 tons.
Jande tendala mu mi yalon ko birna keba folol otomo wolika dolun jilo le bebulu ani yin fay Jallow solo tenda to jang ya jedon 1 minute ni Jallow fay kati nyeri ka jile fo banko fo balimboy dato ise Jallow fay doron ye nye muta fo ila sizimo fa tep otomo modi se chofolu Jallow nye ko façon abele be nyim banko bar sa mbe tembe da min to bira boto jaman wala sañ ni kulul min yikale beje ibita ba ko no fotili sab ibe min tamala bitala fo kilometer tan o kilometer tan saba ni wonte bi ka nyemu tan don la ba man control nyeti jan sañ nye dango do ata jam bake
mbe biti lo min to tonya Gambia be damin overfishing ne bijam overfishing ne bijam ndun sai lafta nga controlo kala nyinyeme sangolo ni tata comme sarrion tenting Konakiri wol fangale la loi dungandu loi folo tamu sollella nyeme sangona teta kana sang ni ma sang a nyinindir la ta nyinila banku dingol fangon toli fangale nyanta na tenda control la nye na siat a marseti jang akati nyale ndung nyim fenkol flaturnel ibe banko nyeti nyaka ne kendeke itolla Jallow be mi mutala jiberti je ndunga jarte ya dinko sing ya sare ni nanat.
There are so many factors contributing to the scarcity of fish. Climate change. In 79, if you are standing at the Gunjur beach, you see people fishing. In 79, 80s, if you have 400, 300 vessels, 20 vessels at Gunjur, now you have 60. Of course, fish is scarce because of so many factors, but there's pressure also on the fishing. In the early 80s, Gunjur, there were 15 vessels targeting Bonga. But because of economic reasons, the fishermen will say what they say, we go by ton. Today 7 boats will go, tomorrow 7 boats will go. Because if they all go together, when they land, when they land, the people at the beach cannot, the processors or the bannermans cannot absorb it. But today, because of the demand on fish, and no part of the fish is thrown away now. Even if you land 100 tons at the beach, people will take it.
Since the climate in the Gambia is warm up to 40 degrees Celsius and there are limited ice supplies and cold storage facilities at the landing sites, a large part of the artisanal catch that cannot be marketed immediately is smoked or dried for preservation.
Nka nyo fara nka sisin di fana nka samba sera kula kunkela nda Brufut bari ni wato nyembu ka soto Brufut ni yan kumande na ko nyesi na jankare do ko ke ni ya soto ni ya do ko ni ya wa fi ko do samba dimba bari mun en samba na ni da ba to muka nyesot dimba be mun ndunta so ko non bulu kensa ni wo man ni ko
Traditional processed smoke products serves different markets: domestic, urban and rural, sub-regional and international markets that contribute to an expanding market. Fish smoking equipment used are diverse in nature and may be dependent on availability of resources. The most common fish processing equipment in use in coastal fish landing centers is the modified charcoal oven. These smoking ovens are of different types, such as the traditional ovens, mud ovens and cut-up barrels. Hot smoking of shark and catfish is practiced by women and usually on a relatively small scale due to preservation and marketing constraints.
Nye ningungo nada ngata jelo do nga nyesang ninga nyesang nga sambana ninga sambana yeshi ya anyanya bondi ya nuo bondi ye jio kandindi ye hiso nyini ya susa ni ya susa ya bang yala ninga la nga dimba mutandi nindimba lo tata fa banda ayelo meso nyini ya fa yakono ya biti ni ya biti yeshi fo nyar do mandi yena ya ele mandi ko de yalo ninjang be dimba ko to ni ya patu fo jang fengera ya ele mandi den do ni ya ele mandi yalo ko sanya fengera ya biti ni ya biti abanda fo soma jani soma jiyo peso sonson ni fano ke ngana nga pake ni nga pake nga sama marshedo ni ndara nga sama marshedo ni nyema soro ko nyema soro nyame nying ika nyinge fula de la sitan ba o keso akasang kemenani talu keme sabatalu
Jabbi de ne injik talib ken ndangan ne lip lek tem may lek may ker am mayanga tam prefe na wajwa lek injik tin temet dik am mayangeri tam lek anata nen temet bet falleng temet betu fi dik injik tan nda injika ngani tam ngayit foten tok ngayida nga tokitam indon nim purke indon nga purke tam injuda den betebel fi fa cuuda he injuda nga betebel fa cuuda heta otole gara nga ipaka nga den otole gara nga hotida den ya bisa den Brikama njiko ka den leleki njikwa den tadikke betak leleki njikwa den la hikke harba hay leleki njikwa tam opetak olinga betak ya te serna keni njalla mek na fur fay chono fay tamaduma imbuga mbugu ni mako ya inna marse fay injege marse tamnu ha indonna wine ndaha in.
We have smoking facilities, modern, because previously, before early 80s, there were only traditional fish smoking houses, which were unsecured. Every year we had these fire disaster cases in here and other coastal fishing centers. Then the fisheries department, through the government of the Gambia, came with an idea of building an improved smoking facilities for the fisher folk.
Marché wala mo bataro otor. Kadu ekay mo min jengalan sino jon. Tenda sin kaw jon kajo area council tenda $5 ngajo ice plan $5 ay ke $10 man si dulaso kabi nyim furo lota na ya 2000 fobi mbe dan ka hansa man ko yang stono nyim pompo ya ele nun keret inata sena dolko ngaile dolko ngabungo loai ko bungo bonyame mflokt everyone $50 nga $450 desot nga sambe ko ata yim pompo bungo do kula no anu nyim dinka de 24 dinka 24 je every month 60 da sinka jo nindi bamat ila nyebe ka jan jan bita jebi la feka ne kata nyebe malta sisi le nyaka so be wule ni tentengo katum sidulati je ni sidulati je safa sisi tala pa sidulati da mi yale fe si yele ndimba ala mutaje dimba kanta wala problem.
According to the local fishers, the emergence of multinational fishing companies with trawlers plying within the territorial sea pose a serious threat to the industry. Most of the large fishing fleet plying the sea sometimes deliberately cut or drag the fishing nets belonging to the local base fishermen.
Sayem betembo min kono sayem batongol fangol le sembo soto dina katambi nyi kulundin tiolti moka jalo soto jande miyan ka kata fu jale keme jale taworo andu newo jibe woy is even more than $150,000 is wo siata wotele so e ka mo jale bi ay tay wo jale keme jale taworo be la ba kono so na jalo la woto e ka jale batongol e nanan ye jalo be kuto yalo ni ko mansay mol makoy man seta lolo no pour que mo be makoy bari fandal dol karo tandile mi yalina mo se fango makoy no karo dol la nyaadile nata ko mi nga mol soto mi ko be right fight kan ka batongol bay o ka kuke batongol la mi sat na nyeso soto no nyami ani Gambia la nyeso siano nyami bar say addition ko kulungo jele keme jele tawrete ala ba ko ni half pan nana half pan dara ganul miti yow nga defar sa mbal bu pare am ci yaakar war dem xoli ko nga dem fek ñu dog ko digal quoi yak quoi vraiment jankontel bobu rek mom nek lu nga xamne mo ñu miti quoi ñun moli quoi ñun ñu ngi joge bu Sénégal ñoo fi di daan suñu doole quoi te vraiment mësuñu fi am len lu nga xamantene mo ñu nekkri quoi ci biir dekk bu quoi mais fi Gambie nek na dekk bu nga xamantene vraiment dekk bu am teranga la dekk bu am jam la dekk bu bëgg gan
bal mu ngi jar $1,100 nga jënd ci war fi tak lu mu ñaar fukki bal buum yi ñëwagul betex bi ñëwagul yaa ngi dégg ak mool yi ngay yeb ñi nga xamanteni yaa ngi ñoom yéena war a ànd di dem géej te ñoom da nga leen a war a nar da ngay dem nga yóbbu mbaal yooyu géej léegi soo demee bato yi dagg ko yaa ngi dégg léegi bato yi suñ ko daggee soo ñëwee doo si am benn ndimbal sonn nañ bato yi moom sonn nañ ñu lool si géej gi.
Industrial vessels start fishing at 7 nautical miles, but since 2008 with the coming in of the new Fisheries Act and Regulation in 2009, we extended it to 9 nautical miles. And anytime they have an incident like that, if they have the particulars of the boat, because we have observers there, if they report it to us, mostly they are compensated. If you ask them where was your net caught, they will never tell you it is caught from the 1 nautical mile to the 9 nautical mile. It must be after, at the place where the industrial also are allowed to fish. But we always advise them to have to have buoys or whatever. Now you have these lamps, which you can always put at your net. Anytime a vessel is coming, it can hold that there's a net at this place.
Fish processors and traders often complain about the unavailability of markets. This is mainly due to the absence of reliable market information. Operators therefore store their products for lengthy periods. The artisanal fisheries can be considered as one of the most important pillars for poverty alleviation in the Gambia.
Follow. Ninat, ba sa infelen be kandolo. Be galaso sana katabaki. Ngalaka pura kana tinya. Nga galaso kaka okola ngana wafu. Sani ba wafu kandolo bije kala finyina la ko fana. Yasi dole bije Sambou ma samba ya tabiyo nyam. O satara bete yare. Ko inye so manda ntata ba. Nga nyesa. Andi han sabeda ma kora kirin. Kanyel milisi do bije isani nduran tabi do bije sake soso do bije ni wa firlan mi kana sosi wa fala te fana kasin sake mburol ko do bije sake no goron subtile ya fenki comme ya koton ina ga goron sub ko bebe wa ni wa firlan fante maja
ni mbonna bato ganyo samana so e ga galaso sanne kulal be mbulle e senyo kedami pour ni gabal siol kana malo nyang et puis fan dina fa la ñew topoto ni galaso man si ñew la itawa fino la diate ñami ba ne galaso sota ñama atra ko fisheries be tamala ñama ne galaso soto isi la ñew topoto la atra man ti ñame bul dina fana foji senema ñini na re ka ñew siide foji senema ñini ye ñew ku ni ya woto fana fo ya ku jiole jomalo ga senat la atra adamo torano la isi ji senema tanole e ka sare ñew toujours siota karalala so ebe jiyo kilala ñami toujours ala bete aka kafunya jisuma
With the current call by His Excellency the President and the assistance he was going to provide for the youths, especially the male folk, I think some of the challenges will be overcome. All these projects, Japanese, EU, there have been fishermen training programs. We have trained people, gave them fishing materials and everything. Some of those people are still in those villages. So there could be potential trainers for the program which is proposed by His Excellency the President.
I would want to encourage government and the young men to get together and make it a very viable industry. Let them venture into it. I mean, if you can go to the farms and do farming for groundnut, farming for rice, farming for that, sure you should be able to go to the sea and farm for fish.
As being part of this research, we are able to understand that ancient Africa had well-established economic institutions before the introduction of modern technology in fishing. Therefore, coastal fishing towns and villages in Kombo became major attraction to the incoming population.
From this documentary research, we are able to understand that the fisheries sector is a vibrant economic industry that have attracted the effective participation of women in the Gambia. Therefore, the intervention made by government should gear towards alleviating constraints that are faced by women folks in the fisheries sector.
That makes it wonderful, and many rivers.